This just in, William Goldberg, the British author, has just died from a heart attack at the age of 81. Well, ladies and gentlemen, in memory of this eccentric character, we'd like to play back an interview that we had with him years and years ago. Please enjoy. Good morning, everyone. Welcome back to Bookworms. On today's episode, we will be interviewing William Golding, author of Lord of the Flies, famous book of his. So, before we get into it, I'm just going to say that during this interview, we will be specifically talking about this book that he wrote years ago. And I'm just going to give you guys a little quick biography on him before we bring him out. So Golding is a British author during the time of World War II who left his mark on society by presenting his unique mentality throughout the novel. With his wide range of novels, poetry, and plays, Golding ended up winning the Nobel Prize in 1983. So throughout the novel, Golding shows his true beliefs on violence based on the way he portrays the characters and how they act out so rationally. As a child, William Golding said that he was actually a bully towards a lot of his peers and, quote, he enjoyed hurting people. So Golding always had an interest for writing and tried many times as a child but failed until later on in his life when he decided to go to the University of Oxford and become a teacher for English. After 5 years of teaching English, he decided he wanted to join the Royal Navy and the Army for World War II. Nice to finally meet you. So on today's episode, we're really looking to get into your perspective and the reasoning for your creation of Lord of the Flies.
Yes. Well, I'm excited to talk to you about that.
Wonderful. All right. So, Mr. Golding, I'm just going to get right into it with the first question. What exactly inspired you to write this novel?
Well, there were several elements that helped inspire me for this book, but two main points were while I was teaching for 5 years in an all-boys school, I was teaching English and philosophy, and just being around all these rebellious and unbehaved boys really gave me, the inspiration for my characters and how to talk about, young men. And also another element that helped me write this book was the fact that I myself was in the war. I was part of the Royal Navy, and it really gave me lots of material and information to help me write and have a setting for my book.
Very interesting. Now, rumor has it that you made the assumption that the survivors in the book have no hope given the fact that they're returning to a world of war. Is this true?
As a matter of fact, that statement is false. I believe that since the boys have become so violent on the island, that when they come back, it won't be that big of an adjustment because of the violent mentality World War II has put on them. And also because they've entered a state of war themselves on the island, that when they come home, it won't be that different. And it could also lead to an interest in joining war, which could be beneficial for us.
Interesting. All right, so next question.
Wait, hold on. I'd actually like to ask you the same question. Do you think the boys will have hope coming out of this experience?
Okay. Well, I actually agree with the rumors and find that the boys don't have hope coming out of an experience like this because a situation like they went through will permanently scar the children since they are at such a young age, and it will impact them in many ways. And also, barbaric behavior presented in your novel isn't normal or tolerated at any time.
Interesting.
No offense, Mr. Golding.
Yeah, none taken.
It's the beast! It's the beast! Get it! Oh!
Okay, so next question. Do you believe that this traumatizing experience helped shape the boys in a beneficial way?
I actually don't think that this experience was traumatizing at all, but I do think it helped shape them because it was more of a learning experience and very beneficial for not only them but for us as well. It pushed the boys to be stronger men because they're not young boys anymore. And it's beneficial for us as well, like I said earlier, that it will give us more soldiers in the war.
Okay, so do you think Lord of the Flies could influence children of today's day and age with the inspiration of your book?
Well, I don't think my book has that big of an influence on the boys of today because I believe that all boys and girls too have it in them to be violent just naturally. But my book isn't encouraging violence, it's just showing us the truth of violence, that it's in everyone.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
And now, do you think it's a bad thing that everyone has it in them to be violent?
I actually believe that it's a good thing just because having stronger and more powerful boys and girls around the world will just make a more powerful country, more powerful planet.
Well, Mr. Golding, that's all the time we have today. But before I end this episode, if you have any last statements to make, or go for it.
Well, I actually have a confession to make about my book.
Go on.
It's actually pretty much all based off a book called The Coral Island I once read to my son. It's about a group of well-educated British boys, just like in my book, who got stranded on an island, just like in my book. And they had to fight off native savages, just like in my book. So I guess you could say I'm not that creative.
Wow. Well, this is very shocking news, but unfortunately, that's all the time we have.
Oh,
Thank you very much for being here, Mr.
Thank you.
Golding. Well, folks, it was very nice to look back at Mr. Golding, and I'd also like to make a slight correction from my previous segment where I mistakenly called him Mr. Goldberg. What I meant was William Golding. Anyways, have a great night. See you tomorrow.